Hi, I'm Karen Darke. I love to ride bikes, but I have to ride them with my arms. I fell off a cliff about 30 years ago now, so I'm paralysed from the chest down. And I've spent the last 15 years on the British Paralympic cycling team. But in that time, I've really missed getting out into nature. And so, thanks to ice trikes, we've now got this incredible ice trike with a Z trike attachment for the hands, which is just changing my life completely. It means I can leave the road behind and get out into the woods and onto beaches and places that I've just never ever been. So it's really quite an incredible machine. I've always had an adventurous streak and I love going into places that it's harder to get to, but I suppose my circumstances being paralysed from the chest down mean that I always have to find unusual creative ways to get there. So I've never actually used a bike like this before on an adventure. This is going to be a world first, and I think it's a world first for anyone to even try and cycle on unprepared terrain into the South Pole in Antarctica. So the plan is that in December of this year, myself and a small team will journey across the Antarctic plateau to the South Pole, and we're just going to be testing this bike to its limits. As far as I know, nobody has managed to cycle to the South Pole on a regular two-wheel bike because the traction is really poor. So we're just going to go and do our best. I'll have a backup sit ski in case the bike gets stuck at times, but it's a really testing the technology to the limits of and exploring what's possible when we combine a great idea with a great bit of technology and a great team and see what we can do. Why are we going to Antarctica? Accidentally, through our plan, we are likely to break a world record and a Guinness record, because no one's ever, in my position, travelled the distance that we'll travel across the Antarctic plateau. But that wasn't our intention, that's not the reason behind it. Really, it was to explore the value of nature in our most precious continent on the planet, which is the perfect place to see the impact that we're having as human beings on the natural world and on our climate. So we really want to go and explore that, not just from the bigger perspective of climate change on the planet, but also the value of nature to us as human beings and how it can really help us overcome challenges and difficult mental stuff in life. It's really helped me through the process of being paralysed, and I think it's just really important to recognise how much we gain from nature and how we really need to look after it as well. So that's really the story that we want to explore. This ice trike with this Z-trike hand pedal attachment is my new best friend. It's amazing what it's enabling me to do. I've cried twice now on beaches recently because for 30 years of being paralysed I've never been able to go to these places. So suddenly to be able to go onto a beach, into a forest with friends and just really be immersed in such a beautiful place where previously I've been sort of more confined to the world of concrete and tarmac is just incredible. It's completely life-changing. I first came across ice trikes because there's a lady from Wales called Maria Lierstrom, I'm not sure if I pronounced the name right, who was the first person ever to cycle to the South Pole, and she used an ice trike. So I got really interested because I'd had this idea as well of trying to handbike in Antarctica. So I contacted ICE and they said that they were working on building a handbike version of the trike. So finally, after a delay from COVID, I got to Israel this late in June this year to meet the brothers who have designed this piece, which is basically what enables me to use the ice trike. And interestingly, their inspiration was never to do a handbike. They wanted to design like a sidecar, like you'd have on a motorcycle, for a bike so that you could take kids into forest and off-road. But somewhere along the way, they went to some bike shows and festivals and somehow got inspired to create this instead to enable people with disabilities to really get into nature. And I have to say, it's working. It's amazing. I think even they were surprised how functional it is and how few problems there seems to be. So yeah, I think they're really excited about what they've created and what it might enable for people. And I just really felt that it just came from their heart and their passion for design to help create something like this to really give access to special places. So we fly into Antarctica on December the 18th of this year, 2022, and it's all thanks to some incredibly generous companies that are sponsoring us. We do still have a shortfall, fairly significant shortfall, but a massive thank you to Cinequa and B. Braun, who are two of our major sponsors, and along with all of the other companies that have enabled it through products and support as well. The team is myself and a professor of environmental economics who is a specialist in the value of nature, who I happened to be a student with many years ago before I was paralysed, and a filmmaker. And there may or may not be another team member, Iona, from a Scottish charity called the Polar Academy, who has really found a lot of benefit through nature and the polar environments to helping her mental health. So she's hopefully going to join us. It's a little bit in the air at the moment, but we really hope that she will. Plan A is to fat trike, hand bike, whatever we're going to call this, across the Antarctic plateau, the last 2 degrees, into the South Pole. We think it will take us around 2 weeks, weather dependent, to take that journey, maybe a little bit longer. And it could be really cold. It depends. It is summertime in Antarctica when we're there, but it could get as low as -40 or possibly -50 Celsius. Most likely to be cold out on the plateau rather than in the tent at night, because it'll be a bit warmer with the constant sunshine on the tent. So one of the big technology aspects is to find lubricants and sealants for the tyres which can cope with temperatures as low as -50. So we're working with Z-Trikes, with Ice Trikes, with Schwalbe, with a D-stick and Joe's No Flats. Everyone's designing stuff which can work in these temperatures, along with wheelchair wheels for my wheelchair, with loop wheels, and everyone's looking at the kind of technology that can survive such extreme conditions. So there's lots of interesting aspects on the technology side of it. A massive thank you to Ice Trikes, Z Trikes, all the companies that are helping support us to go on this journey. And if you'd like to find out more, that there is a link to the Pole of Possibility on my website, which is Darke, Darke.com. And yeah, you can read more about it all there. We have got a story competition for young people to share a story of overcoming a challenge or doing something surprising, and we're going to read the winning stories out from the South Pole. So take a look, get involved, let people know. Thank you.